Welcome back to another video. When I first switched from classical to jazz piano, it felt like trying to learn a completely new language. Everything was so different and I hit wall after wall. If you're just starting out with jazz, or if you've been struggling for a while, you've probably experienced the same frustrations. Today, I'm going to show you 5 of the most common struggles that every jazz pianist faces, and more importantly, how to overcome them. I've personally experienced and gone through all 5 of these things I'm about to discuss with you, and just about everybody goes through them. So just know that you're not alone. So if you're just starting out, or even in the first few years of your jazz journey, all of these things are very common, and I remember all too well what it was like. That's why I want to address them so you can know how to tackle them head on. One of the biggest struggles when learning jazz is not knowing where to start. It's easy to feel like there's so much to learn. Scales, voicings, improvisation, rhythms, how to listen, keeping the form, hundreds of tunes. It can be paralyzing and overwhelming. The solution? Start simple. Focus on listening to jazz and getting familiar with what it sounds like, the common standards and tunes, and of course, playing the blues and blues tunes. It's one of the most essential building blocks of jazz. Learn the 12-bar blues and get very comfortable with a few basic chord progressions. This will give you a solid foundation and something concrete to work with that's achievable, and is the best foundation possible and best place to start with basically everything you will do in jazz playing. Jazz is an oral art form, and lots of listening will help you learn the music and start to absorb and learn the language of jazz. Download my free 12-page guide in the description below for the 6 steps on exactly where to start if you're new to jazz piano or coming from a classical piano background. There's more info on how to approach blues tunes and which tunes I recommend starting with. Second thing is, another common struggle is rhythm. Swing feel and the rhythms of jazz can be tricky and feel completely unnatural, especially if you're used to the strict time of classical music. The key here is feeling and accenting the offbeats instead of the downbeats, which will feel counterintuitive at first. Play some eighth notes in your right hand with some swing and really accent the offbeats or the ands. Then add some basic comping rhythms like the Charleston or reverse Charleston in the left hand. These things will help you feel the pulse in a more relaxed way. Remember, it's not about playing every note perfectly, it's about feeling the rhythm and making it groove. Jazz is all about rhythm, much more than what actual notes you're playing. 3. Improv often feels like a free-for-all or completely directionless. You've got all these scales and chords, but how do you actually make music with them? The simple technique is to try to limit yourself. Play around with just 2 notes and create a motif. Focus on rhythm, repeat the idea and develop it, and let it evolve. Don't try to think of a whole solo at once. Once you're comfortable with simple ideas, you can start adding more complexity. It's all about creating small, repeatable ideas that build into something bigger. The 4th area is chord voicings and harmony. They're intimidating. In jazz, the sheer number of voicings can just be overwhelming. There are so many variations and different kinds to learn, but here's the trick. Start with shell voicings, just the root, 3rd, and 7th. These simple voicings will already give your playing a jazzy sound, and once you're comfortable with those, they're the foundation, and you can start expanding into more complex voicings. 1 voicing at a time in all 12 keys until it feels second nature. Make sure you practice that. Make sure to apply them to 2-5-1s and tunes you're learning. You don't need to memorize every voicing in one day either. Take it slow and focus on building your harmonic understanding step by step. Lastly, here's one almost everyone struggles with most: a lack of structure in practicing. It's easy to sit at the piano and just play or revert back to things you can already play well, but that won't lead to progress. Instead, break your practice into categories. I recommend 5 different categories, which are: 1. Warm-up and technique building. 2. Voicings. 3. Transcription practice and taking a transcribed phrase through all keys. 4. Improvisation practice and using your transcribed phrases over common progressions. And lastly, number 5. Learning tunes and applying everything you're practicing to them. I recommend spending at least 50% of your practice time on tunes. For more details and guidance, make sure to download my free guide on how to structure your practice routine at any level. Link is in the description below. Make sure to record yourself so you can track your progress, and it's the best way to listen and hear what you really need to work on most. Having a clear practice routine will help you stay focused and make faster improvements, and give a better sense of accomplishment. There will be much more content coming soon about practicing and practice routines. To wrap things up, if you're ready to overcome these struggles and start making real progress in jazz piano, focus on beyond those 5 areas. It's about taking it step by step, having a clear practice structure, and making sure you're always listening to jazz to internalize the feel and the language. Which of these struggles do you find most challenging? Leave a comment below and let me know, and I'll be happy to help you out. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe to the channel, and check out the free guides in the description below. There's a guide on where to start if you're new to jazz piano or coming from a classical background, practice structuring guide if you're lost or overwhelmed with what to practice, and my modes cheat sheet, which cover all the modes of major and melodic minor, and they go over how to apply them to each chord type and for certain tunes. There's also a link to join the waitlist for my new upcoming course on how to solo meaningful melodies. Join the waitlist and you'll get immediate access to a full-length sneak peek video of what's covered inside the course and more information about it. It's being released in about 2 months. And please leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts and answer any questions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.